John Jeremiah Johnston, a name whispered in saloons, a name that made mothers cover their children's ears. Born in 1824, Johnston entered this world in the untamed wilds of Tennessee. This was no place for the faint of heart. Young Johnston even then showed a spark. He craved adventure, thirsted for the unknown. The stifling life of a farmer held no appeal. He yearned for the open range, the howl of the wind across the plains, and so, like a caged animal sensing freedom, he bolted at the tender age of 13. Narrator. If you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel. The Mexican-American War erupted, a storm of sabers and gunpowder. Johnston, never one to resist a good fight, enlisted. He joined the Navy, a surprising choice for a man of the mountains. Aboard the USS Savannah, Johnston tasted true hell. He witnessed the horrors of war firsthand, the deafening roar of cannons, the stench of gunpowder and blood, the screams of the dying. Johnston fought like a man possessed, earning a reputation for fearlessness, but war left its mark on Johnston. It carved scars on his soul deeper than any blade. While Johnston was away, tragedy struck. A band of Crow warriors slaughtered his wife, a flathead Native American woman he loved dearly. Grief soon gave way to a cold, calculating rage that whispered a single word in his ear: vengeance. The murder of his wife shattered Johnston. It unleashed a darkness within him, a thirst for vengeance that knew no bounds. He swore an oath over her grave, a chilling promise whispered to the wind. He would hunt down every last Crow warrior responsible for her death. Johnston became a phantom, a wraith haunting the mountains. He stalked the Crow, his knowledge of their ways learned from his late wife turning into a weapon. He became a one-man army waging a war of attrition against an entire tribe. He was relentless, merciless, driven by a grief that refused to be silenced. He earned his chilling moniker, Liver-Eaten Johnston, during this bloody vendetta. Legend has it that after each kill, Johnston would consume the liver of his victim, a gruesome ritual, a symbolic devouring of their spirit. Some argue it was a way to absorb their power, others a sign of madness. Whatever the reason, the name stuck. The Crow tribe, once so fearsome, learned to tremble at the mention of his name. The taming of a mountain man. Johnston seeks peace, finds whiskey. Years passed. The fire of Johnston's vengeance slowly burned itself out, leaving behind a trail of bodies and a heart heavy with regret. The thrill of the hunt, the taste of blood, no longer brought him solace. He drifted from town to town, a ghost haunting the edges of civilization. He sought solace in the bottom of a bottle, trying to drown out the memories, but the past had a way of catching up. He tried to outrun his demons, to find peace in the bottle, but the liver-eaten moniker followed him like a shadow. People treated him with a mixture of fear and morbid fascination. He longed for a place to hang his hat, to find a semblance of normalcy in a world that had become all too familiar with his brand of chaos. Red Lodge's unlikely hero from outcast to lawman, fate in the form of a rickety stagecoach, brought Johnston to Red Lodge, Montana, a fledgling town clinging to the edge of the frontier, much like Johnston himself. There was a place where outlaws rubbed shoulders with prospectors, where the law was as fluid as the whiskey flowed. Initially, he was met with the same apprehension, the same whispered rumors, but beneath the surface, a change was brewing. People started to see past the legend to the weary man beneath. Red Lodge, desperate for law enforcement, took a chance on the aging mountain man. They offered him a badge, a chance to atone for his past sins. And Johnston, weary of running, accepted. He became the town's unlikely sheriff, a testament to the redemptive power of second chances. The man who had once been a symbol of chaos now represented order. The last stand of liver-eaten Johnston, a legend laid to rest. Life, as it often does, had a way of catching up, even for a legend like liver-eaten Johnston. Age crept in, stealing the vitality from his limbs, replacing it with aches and a persistent cough. He knew his time was coming. The Grim Reaper, a familiar figure by this point, was casting a long shadow, but Johnston faced this final adversary with the same grit and determination he had shown throughout his life. He died peacefully in 1900 in a small cabin on the outskirts of Red Lodge. His death, unlike his life, was a quiet affair, but in the saloons and around campfires, his legend lived on. Remembering a controversial figure, Johnston's complicated legacy, John Liver-Eaten Johnston, a name that still evokes a shudder, a whisper of the untamed West, a reminder of the darkness that lurked within even the bravest hearts. Was he a hero, a villain, or perhaps a bit of both? History, as always, paints a complicated picture. We remember him as a ruthless avenger, a man who embraced the brutality of his time. We recount the stories of his bloody vendetta, the chilling legend of the liver-eating mountain man. But we also remember the latter chapters of his life, the unlikely lawman, the protector of Red Lodge, the man who sought redemption in the twilight of his days. His story is a microcosm of the American West itself, a time of violence and upheaval, of boundless opportunity and crushing hardship.